created to destabilize the government. And there are people that benefit from all of this. And we didn't know that gradually the armies that we were building will begin to have their own think tank. They will begin to reason in their own direction. They will begin to cut off from the control of the godfatherism system. And right now, the hoodlums, the hooligans, the bandits that we call, the terrorists, they have a Tuesday. The military that we are supposed to use, the military look at the veterans. If I'm going outside of the military, what comfort do I have? Now the veterans are crying every day. We are coming out for another protest very soon in this April because all the agreements we have that can give them comfort, they will be playing to the music of that person, of that group. So we are in trouble. And I'm sure the God that we serve in Nigeria is the one to rescue us.
All right, we need God to rescue us, but then it is the responsibility of government to ensure the safety of life and property. Mercy indeed asked the question as per body language, the financial wherewithal, to do all of that. I don't think those are really the issues because we know what to really do. Because for the president to have called the service chiefs and directed immediate conclusion of all processes for the implementation of the integrated, I'm just quoting him, security, surveillance and monitoring solution for the Abuja to Kaduna Railway and by extension to the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So over time, they were supposed to have done all this thing. They knew they needed to do all this thing. And now the Senate is asking Buhari to declare full-scale war against bandits, wants military to bombard terrorist enclave. My question right now is what next? Because it's as though these terrorists, these bandits have become so emboldened. The roads are not secure. The Kaduna-Abuja highway is not secure. Over the weekend, it was an incident at the airport, now the train. So the average resident, what are we trying to tell them? How do they move about? What should they be saying to them? How do we allay their fears? Because right now it's as though we're just asking them to just sit in their homes, just to stay back because they cannot walk free, they cannot move free, either on the roads or the rail tracks or even by air. So where do we go from here, Roy?
Is Nigerians need to blanket situation that we need right now. You can't work on the police diplomacy that we need now. Let me ask a question in your question. Where is the National Orientation Agency? Where are the people that work in the National Orientation Agency? In our BROC buses last time, we don't even have the primary school, the secondary school, the Boy Scouts, resource persons to be coming to the secondary school. So difficult to put these politicians' purview on the people. Their purview is on the wealth they will generate, so they are spending lasciviously. So it's unfortunate where we are. We need to look at the people. Anybody in government, I'm happy for Anambra State right now. I pray that they don't derail, because if they start the young man that did a help, we must support Nigerian manufacturers. We must support the Nigerian dream. We must believe in Nigeria. Every Nigerian must become patriotic, and we must stand together against bad governance. We must come together against disillusionment of ideas. We must support the dream, the goals, the aspirations, and the passions of Nigeria, so that tomorrow we will look back and be happy. If not, our old age will be trouble.
Okay, so just as we close this conversation down now, in tackling the security concerns in Kaduna State and in Nigeria, we need to understand. First, we know that, you have questioned and queried some of the concerns. Pointing out and mentioning names of those who were sponsors of terror in Nigeria. Even the government in itself, the federal government says, we know these people. And you also have state governments saying, oh yes, we're in the know that, these terrorists and these bandits, whatever tag we have given them, are collecting taxes in some states. We have acknowledged all of these things. but what are we doing with the information? So one will begin to query how having a surveillance camera. We see that all the time with yes, we know there's been a lot of back and forth. We say they're bandits, and then there's an order to proscribe them as terrorists. The question here is, who are these people?
Asking if we know these people.
Yes.
If we know these people, if we
know their gender.
Their names. Yeah. So over the years, there were names that were mentioned in Dubai before even Malami came on board. And you see, this our Attorney General is just a strategic disappointment to Nigeria, because the judiciary is one of the greatest weapons of any country. Look at America. Why do you think Donald Trump would not do the fence he wanted to do? Because the judges country. What do you think are his pedigree? What are the things he has achieved so far? So far, he's even begging that comments he made over Abba Kyari were not so. If you didn't make those comments and you find them in public space, who is culpable? So you cannot even deal with media that you said that misquoted you. How can you deal with people that they mention that are terrorists? Because whatever the EFCC is doing, ICPC, all of them will go through that Ministry of Justice that you see before they will begin to maybe get approval. Then you will now be hearing things about what party, who is that person. That is the Nigerian context. So I think that Malami as an Attorney General is a strategic loss to Nigeria. If we have a good justice, their businesses have not been closed, their accounts have not been closed. So are we not encouraging others to say, because they will go to them and say, how are you compromising the government? And you will know who is compromising the government. And the third thing about Nigeria is that when this strategic loss of an Attorney General leaves the seat today, you will not system in place. If people mentioned as terrorists in our agencies, we are compromising our people focus. So we have,
in Nigeria or in Kaduna State, because over time, anyhow, without even the slightest thought or second thought, don't you think we need to question the way we have gone about it?
After your Lagos, period of trying to change their ideology, you kick them out. So when you kick them out, they get a bite and they go back into the bush, So we have advised, we said, number one, because of human rights, international human rights court, international human rights law, Nigeria is constrained not to maybe get into a place, start bombing it, or people submit themselves to say we have come to present the IDP which they display. You see IDP camps, you hear stories every day how they struggle for food, for medical, for life, and you look at the people that displaced the Nigerians to become internally displaced persons. You will see them, they will tell you they are restructuring their ideology, they are in fine dresses, they are eating balanced diet, playing games at will. So something is wrong there. That's number one. Number two, we have mentioned, let me even say it on air, we have proposed that the government can actually put within those places so that how you can use that to follow them, because you already have their number, the NCC, the communication line, everything is for the government. So we can track them, know where they went to, follow up. Nobody follows up. After your tenure in the radicalization camp, you just been released. Some of them come and apply, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a military officer, and you say they are Nigerians. Keeping those people to live better than IDP, we are making
this conversation at this. We must say a very big thank you to you joining us today to bring some solutions to all of these concerns in Kaduna State. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I will just take a very quick break. In a moment, I will come back and talk about what
used to be. He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if you want.
Peace without justice.
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. Relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. It's The Breakfast at Plus TV Africa. We'll look at the incident that took place yesterday, shortly after Nigeria crashed out of qualifying for the World Cup. You have enraged Nigerian football fans went on rampage yesterday after Ghana's Black Star knocked out the Super Eagles out of the Qatar FIFA World Cup. Though the scorelines in the Jam Stadium was 1-1, Ghana edged out Nigeria on away goal rule. Its early goal in Abuja reckoned as 2 goals. With the blast of the final whistle, the fans stormed the pitch and vandalized the Moshood Abiola Stadium infrastructure. Videos of that protest was viral yesterday. It was not clear whether anyone had been hurt, but you had billows of smoke apparently from the tear gas canisters. It could also be seen as a section of the stadium, and the protest came as social media. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning.
Can you hear me, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can
Loud
hear
and
you.
clear.
Yeah,
can you
Montreal.
please quickly tell us what really happened yesterday after the whistle went off?
Sorry, please come again.
Can you tell us what happened yesterday after the final whistle? The game between Ghana and Nigeria, what happened?
Oh, so after the match, a fan ran across the field, wanted to hug a Nigerian player. So they were trying to stop him, but he finally hugged the Nigerian player. So when people saw that, he jumped the barricade because they locked the gate. So when people saw that, he jumped and he hugged the Nigerian player, people started coming in. I think the security was not enough to handle the amount of crowd. So that was how they just took over the field, started destroying. They did a lot of damage before the security started with the tear gas and all. So that happened after the match.
Moturayo, can you give us more specific details, really? Was anyone severely injured yesterday? Casualties per se, really, after that incident that went all right yesterday at the stadium?
Okay, so as I was there, because I had to run for my life, it was the viewers that injured because the place was so rowdy, over 60,000 people. So when I was there, it was only the people that came to match that probably injured.
Players, or was it out of anger? What really do you think actually caused this?
So I actually say it was more of anger because I don't know. To me, I didn't like the way they played. I'm not like a football person, but I know that these guys didn't do their best. But what has happened?
That's all right.
More of coming from a place of being angry.
Thank you so much, Moturayo Fagbuyi, for being part of the show this morning. We do appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
All right, then. A very unfortunate incident that happened yesterday, and seeing the video and all of the clips, and yesterday wasn't really a very great time, coupled with ensure that happened, but it wasn't the case. And so some people said maybe we just got what we deserve. The blood of innocent people who constantly and who have died would have actually not worked for us to make us win the game. But these are all in, the speculative. Justin, did you watch the match?
No, I didn't watch the match. Honestly, I didn't want to end up being sad because it could have ended either ways. So I just was dozing. Yesterday was indeed a terrible day for the Super Eagles and of course for Kaduna, for Nigeria, for all of us as citizens of Nigeria, and we are still mourning, and our hearts go out to
lose. The best team will always win, but not in this particular case. However, there were other factors, but it's quite condemnable, the action of fans yesterday at the Abiola Moshood Stadium. Very condemnable. No matter what the frustration is, I mean, that's resources that's actually been destroyed and damaged. There are other ways to get things done. Violence has never solved anything and will never solve any problem. And so we hope that we can do better subsequently as we progress. Winning the World Cup would need a lot of preparation. It's not a 2-week thing. You have to plan over time. I hope that we learn the lessons and move on as a country. That's the size of a conversation. We will definitely return tomorrow. It would be more interesting conversation right here. If you missed out on any part of it, it's okay to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and to subscribe to our YouTube channels at Plus.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting.
Wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
News Brief. I am Justin Akadonye. The bandits have launched yet another attack on Gidon Station on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. The attack occurred shortly after the entourage of the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, passed through on their way to Regiona to conduct an inspection to determine the extent of damage caused by the attack. That was for the implementation of the presidential spokesman in the statement said Buhari gave this directive. It was after receiving briefs from the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, on Tuesday visited the scene of the attack. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Amao, and the Inspector General of Police, Osman Baba, others comprehensive security surveillance and monitoring solution for the Abuja-Kaduna train route be completed immediately. Additionally, he said that the security infrastructure should be expanded to include Lagos and Ibadan rail line. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, the vice president, proceeded to see victims of the attack at 44 Army Reference Hospital at St. Gerald Hospital.
To ensure that we have a comprehensive plan for protecting road tracks and protecting in our commitment to ensuring that these sorts of things are prevented and that as quickly as possible services are restored and that the type of safety measures that are required.
We sincerely apologize for the bad audio experienced in that report. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, and Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, visited the scene of the Kaduna-Abuja train attack, ordering troops to intensify search and rescue operations as well as hunt down the terrorists. Lieutenant General Yahaya was accompanied by some principal staff officers of the Army headquarters and the General Officer commanding 1 division.
But I'd like to assure you that those behind it will not go unpunished. Currently, the men are on their chairs and they will certainly pay.
Staying with that particular development, the Senate has called on the Army and Air Force to, as a matter of urgency, bombard terrorist enclaves with a view to restoring peace and stability in the country. The Senate has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare full-scale war against terrorists so as to secure Nigeria's territory. These form part of resolutions reached following a motion sponsored by Senator Obasani. He drew the attention of the Senate to the bandit attack on the Kaduna-bound train and in some other parts of the state. He bemoans the attack on the Kaduna-bound train carrying over 970 passengers around Kateri regional axis. This was just a few kilometers to the Rigasa train station in Igabi local government area of the state.
It has been a reign of undiluted terror. Note that these latest attacks are aimed at instilling fear in the people and destroying the economies of our local communities. It is disheartening that these enemies of the people are getting emboldened by the day. They are becoming more brazen. These blood-curdling bonfires have no regard for human life. They have no place in civilized society.
A cross-section of lawmakers who lamented that Kaduna had become the new theater of insecurity concluded that terrorists have declared war against Nigerians and it is time for Nigeria to declare war against the terrorists.
It is safe and right, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, to conclude that terrorists have declared war against Nigeria, and I think it is time for Nigeria to declare war against these terrorists. Mr. President, we shouldn't allow this situation to continue, where we lay back, they come to attack, then we repel, we try to do damage control and the like. I think it is time for these terrorists to be seriously taken as a national security threat.
Mr. President, since we're inaugurated here, discussions on the security of our country has taken a large chunk of our discussion here. And I believe and feel that it is time enough for the appropriate authorities to have taken decisive actions to address the security in our country.
In Kaduna in person, the Kaduna town and Kaduna state as a whole, no day they don't kill over 300 in a day. Every blessed day, no day that they don't kill souls, more than 300.
Accordingly, the Senate urged the Army and the Air Force to carry out sustained bombardment of terrorist enclaves with a view to flushing them out and restoring peace and stability to the communities. The House of Representatives has tasked security agencies on the need to put together a task force to check and repel attacks on the nation's airports and railways. These followed a motion of urgent national importance brought by Honorable Nnolim Nnaji at plenary following recent incident of terrorist attacks on the Kaduna International Airport and the Rigasa end of the Abuja-Kaduna standard gauge within a space of 4 days. Emmanuel Ehijide compiles this report.
These two incidents occurred within a space of 4 days, and federal lawmakers do not find the development acceptable. Honorable Nnolim Nnaji is representing Nkanu East West Federal Constituency of Anambra State. Debating the motion, he said 12 persons were abducted by the terrorists that attacked the Kaduna International Airport on the 25th of March, with one person, a security personnel with Nigerian Airspace Management Agency (NAMA), reportedly killed. This is despite efforts by the military to repel the attack, noting that if something drastic is not done urgently, it may embolden terrorists to attack more airports in the country.
Definitely, if it happens in other places, if they start attacking our airports, the implication is that even the international airlines will stop coming to Nigeria. That's the implication, and the premium on our local airlines, the premium on their insurance will increase, will go up, and the implication is that the air tickets will double. Because once the premium on insurance goes up, the air ticket will double. So that's why I'm asking that the leadership should come to our aid to see how we can solve this problem.
Lawmakers, while condemning the act, called for proactive action by security agencies through the setting up of a task force to man the nation's airports and railways.
We must present a very formidable front as a house to ensure that this thing do not happen again. And for it not to happen, somebody, somewhere, must be held responsible. It couldn't have just been ordinary that these people would drive through the city and come and challenge the security of our airports. For me, it is not only reprehensible, Honorable Speaker, sir, but a display of general ineptitude on the part of the security.
Now those who used to go to Kaduna by road became challenged because of kidnapping on Abuja-Kaduna road. And then thank God the railway came, the train came, Mr. Speaker, and they are being challenged today. Nigerian Railway Corporation had issued a statement that they are going to suspend the activities of the rail along that line. And Mr. Speaker, we were challenged some few days ago for us to have an infraction in the airport, which means that nowhere is safe. So, Mr. Speaker, if our roads are not safe, if our rails are not safe, and if our airport, which is the beginning point of our airways, are not safe, Mr. Speaker, then it calls for us to suspend everything political to begin to address the critical needs of Nigerians.
An amendment on need to include the incident of the bombing of a train carrying over 970 passengers, which was attacked near Rigasa Station, Kaduna, was also unanimously adopted. The motion was adopted when put to vote by Honorable Idris Wasey, Deputy Speaker of the House, at plenary.
Now, staying on the train attack, some victims have been admitted to the 44 Military Hospital and St. Gerald Hospital in Kaduna State. It is not yet clear how many persons were injured, but the attacked train had the capacity to convey more than 1,000 passengers. At least 7 are feared dead, and many are believed to have been abducted by the terrorists, also known as bandits, who attacked the train. The Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai visited some of the victims receiving treatment at the hospitals. The governor was accompanied by the heads of security agencies stationed in the state. In other news now, as the 2023 general elections draw closer, concerns have been raised on the issues surrounding voter education, voter apathy, and the fact that the electorate are not being carried along on the processes. Our correspondent Jacinta Obiuku takes a look at these issues.
Voter education has become necessary to ensure electorates are aware of their rights, the political system, civic responsibility, and their interests. On the street of Lagos, a large percentage of respondents know little or nothing about how to get their permanent voter's card.
The voter's card is even more important than voting, because once in anywhere you go, even if you go to, like, you want to open an account, they will ask you of your voter's card.
I don't know how to get my voter's card, but I'll find a way to get it.
Actually, I don't know much about the online registration. The only process I know is just to go to the nearest local government.
Me that I'm talking, I haven't actually gotten mine, but it's something that I have plans of getting. So I don't really know. I'm not in on the details on how to get it.
I stay at Ikorodu, and I was told that there is no vacancy in Ikorodu. I should go to Yaba. That is the frustrating part of it.
But in the first place,
a political analyst, Godwin Etakubebu, is not blaming the electorate for not participating in the country's electoral process. He believes a majority of Nigerians feel betrayed by the performances of the elected, and as a result, keep away from the polls.
you don't blame the people so much. One, poverty has reduced people's knowledge to nothing. You're talking of online registration, which made it easier. But in the first place, how many of them have light to power the laptop that they will use to do the registration online? How many of them are really technologically compliant?
Even though it is INEC's statutory duty to conduct voter and civic education and promote the knowledge of a sound democratic process, Etakibebu believes that INEC can only try but cannot do all.
So INEC will be trying, we shall be trying, the government shall be trying, the political parties, and by the time they will be making effort. But to say that, oh, only INEC, no. And let's keep telling the people that failure to participate by use of your PVC, permanent voter's card, charge yourself vicariously liable for whoever that emerges.
I want to appeal to Nigerians that the commission spends money, the country spends money to print these permanent voters cards. And when we spend money to print them, and we spend money in terms of paying registration officers to go for the purposes of distributing some of these permanent voters cards, and people do not come to collect, it doesn't tell well of us as a people and as a country. So I think that we must realize the power in the PVC and make sure that we collect our permanent voters cards if we have taken the pains to carry out registration.
As Nigeria moves towards the 2023 general elections, the Commission and other stakeholders need to rekindle and restore the confidence of Nigerians in the electoral process. Jacinta Obiuku, PlusTV News.
As the general elections inch close, Nigerians expressed their opinions on their expectation from political parties and if they can deliver the dividends of democracy. That's on Our Street Views.
some other party should take over because PDP has been ruling for a very long time. APC has also been ruling for a very long time. And let me just say, they are all based on the same feather. So they should give opportunity to other party to rule.
It's not about political party. It's where do we get a good leader? That's our problem. So we don't care about whether PDP or APC. If you look at the attitude of our politicians, you could see somebody from APC would come to PDP because of his own interest. You will see somebody from APC would come to PDP because of his own interest. So our problem is not about the political party, it's about leadership. Anywhere good leader come, it is welcome.
Please, APC, leave us alone. Please, I'm begging you people, leave us alone. Please, not by force. So they are the same people now, from this party to this party. Let just the youth or young somebody take over. Let all these old men leave us alone. Look at how we are stressing ourselves, suffering on this hot sun every day by day. They should leave us alone. Leave us alone. I have my PVC already, Sha. I know what to do with it.
I don't think the party matters. What matters is the person in particular. I don't care about the party. I care about the person itself.
Today PDP, tomorrow APC. Me, I don't like all this kind. Voila, you don't too suffer for Nigeria. So we need another people may come. This one will tell you this one. This one will tell you that when they are campaigning, they will promise you so things. They are going to make good, bring good school, food, good road, all this one. Nothing is working in this country.
I think we should try another political party. Maybe we will see difference.
These two parties, they are the same group of people. It's recycling. You understand? They keep coming up. If you do them bad in this party, they will come to the other party. It's the same person. So we need fresh people entirely so that we'll be able to get it, see whether we can get it right.
And to other parts of Africa now, the South African Human Rights Commission says it will hear President Cyril Ramaphosa with regard to his responsibility as the head of state during the July 2021 unrest. Trade and Industry Minister Ibrahim Patel and Public Service and Administration Minister Ayanda Dlodlo are just two of the government members who appeared before the panel. The president released last February a report on the unrest he commissioned to an expert panel. The report found there had been a failure of state institutions in disrupting and anticipating the troubles. And outside the continent now, U.S. President Joe Biden has discussed Russia's invasion of Ukraine and China's role in the Indo-Pacific with Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong of Singapore at the White House. The two leaders sat down for talks in the Oval Office and were later to deliver remarks in what was just described as a joint press statement. Biden told reporters as he opened the meeting that the United States supports implementing its Indo-Pacific strategy despite the current focus on Europe during the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
And even as we address the crisis in Europe, my administration is strongly supportive of moving rapidly to implement the Indo-Pacific strategy. Today, at the end of the day, we're going to discuss a number of important issues. The U.S.-ASEAN relationship, upholding freedom of the seas, promoting return of democracy in Burma, and advancing inclusive and sustainable economic growth in both our areas. And so
we will, of course, exchange views also on Ukraine and what that means for the Asia-Pacific region. Singapore hopes that the United States, amidst all its many preoccupations, will continue to deepen its relationship with countries in the Asia-Pacific, China certainly, but also other countries besides China, and deepen it substantially in many different ways through the Indo-Pacific strategy, and in doing so to foster the peace, stability, and security of the region, as you have done for so many decades since the war.
In business news now, the World Bank has said in its report titled A Better Future for All Nigerians 2022 Nigeria Poverty Assessment that poverty reduction stagnated since 2015, with more Nigerians falling below the poverty line over the years. According to the Washington-based bank, about 90 million Nigerians are expected to be poor this year. However, due to the pandemic, the figures are projected to hit 95.1 million this 2022. The report further reveals that the COVID-19 pandemic pushed over 5 million more Nigerians into poverty by 2022. The House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has given Millie Carey, the Group Managing Director of the NNPC Limited, 1 week to appear along with subsidiaries of the corporation. Now, this follows the refusal of the subsidiaries to appear before the committee to respond to a query of 107 million barrels of crude oil unaccounted for, among other queries. Honorable Oluwole Oke, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, gave the directive during a public hearing convened by the committee to look into audit queries.
The GM of NAPIMS contravenes the provision of this law, sir. You will be held liable. I owe you a duty of care, and I'm discharging same. That is just the law. The chief accounting officer of these agencies must appear here. They must appear here, and they were mentioned by the Auditor General, not the Public Accounts Committee. Except the leadership of these MDAs and presidents are here. The GMDs are, if they are not here, then we adjourn this hearing. We reschedule this hearing maybe by another week. But that they will not appear before the People's Parliament, they have to appear.
Mr. Chairman, nobody stole 107 million barrels of oil. Nobody kept the value of 107 million barrels of oil. If for any reason that is not fully acted by the Auditor General, it's a different matter. But Mr. Chairman, we take your steer. This company is hiding nothing from anyone. We will appear before you, Mr. Chairman, as you directed next week. But Mr. Chairman, happy that to back up your mind that we have nothing to hide. We are representing in the same manner that you expect us to operate, Mr. Chairman. We are doing it on behalf of all Nigerians, and we are completely transparent to Nigerians.
In entertainment news now, chart toppers Ed Sheeran and Camila Cabello were among music stars taken to the stage at a televised concert aiming to raise funds for a Ukrainian humanitarian appeal. Taking place in the British city of Birmingham, the lineup for the 2-hour concert for Ukraine also featured Ukrainian singer Jamala, who won the 2016 Eurovision Song Contest, and music veteran Nile Rodgers and Chic, as well as groups Snow Patrol and Manic Street Preachers. A poignant moment in the evening was a performance by young virtuoso violinist Ilya Bondarenko, who played Verbovaya Doshika, an old Ukrainian folk song from a basement shelter in Kiev, along with 94 violinists from around the world. Singers Emily Sunday and Gregory Porter, violinist Nicola Bendetti, as well as Gospel Kingdom Choir also performed. The organizer said the concert had raised £12.2 million, which will be donated to disasters emergency committees, an umbrella of UK charities humanitarian appeal for Ukraine. In sports news now, Irates fans have invaded the main bowl of the Moshood Abiola Stadium, destroying everything in sight immediately after Nigeria's 1-1 draw against Ghana on Tuesday, which ended the Super Eagles' dream of reaching a 7th World Cup appearance in Qatar in November. Now, despite the Eagles' bright start in front of a fully packed 60,000 capacity Abuja Stadium, the Black Stars took the lead through captain Thomas Partey in the 11th minute. The Arsenal midfielder unleashing a fierce low drive, which squeezed through the diving Francis Uzoho's hands. Ghana qualified for the World Cup thanks to the away goal rule after the first leg at the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi ended goalless.
I expected us to win. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I still expected us to find the zeal to win at the end of the day. But this was a disaster.
We know that these are our geographical rivals, our rivals in the match, so we knew that tensions were going to be high, but I don't think any of us expected it to turn into violence on the pitch, destruction. It's a shame. It really is a shame. And it shouldn't happen like this. Football is, in a match like this, we know somebody will go through, somebody will not. But it is disappointing for us that Nigeria is not the team that's gone through, but it's extra disappointing that Nigeria has, and Nigerian fans have participated in this type of destruction.
And sports news wraps it for us at the news brief. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for watching. Stand by for Plus Sports.